You keep waiting for this thing to come into your life. You keep waiting for the love of your life to arrive. You keep waiting for the day you're making this amount of money. You keep waiting for the day that you have your dream job, that you are this, that you have this desire that you crave so deeply. So why does it not come? Well, the very problem lies in this waiting. Because in manifestation, there is no waiting. There is no outside of you. There is no external future event where you have your desire. There is only the embodiment in the present moment. There's only the change of your frequency in the present moment. And I'll explain in this video how to do this. Let's start with an understanding of the true nature of reality. This reality is a mirror. It is like this picture over here with the reflection of the mountain in the water. The mountain is your conscious and subconscious mind. Let's say the mountain is your conscious mind and the sky is your subconscious mind. What do we see in the mirror? What do we see in the water? The exact reflection of this. Well, this water, this reflection is your reality. Every single thing that is happening around you is like a mirror. Not in the sense where you've consciously asked for these things to happen, but in the very literal sense that it is like everything around you is like a mirror. You are projecting this into this physical reality. It is like in the cinema where you have the projector and the screen. The screen is your reality. And the projector is your consciousness, and subconsciousness is what you are calling into this reality, is what you're constantly creating every millisecond. You're projecting like a virtual glasses. So whenever we see something on the screen in a cinema that we don't like, do we start to question the screen? Or do we start to question the projector, the filmmaker, and everything that is behind this observance? Everything around you is a mirror. So what do we have to become very aware of? Everything that triggers us in our daily life is a pointer towards why our manifestations haven't manifested or why we are not at the desired level of frequency that we want to be on. Because these are reflections and highlights to us of what is happening in our subconscious mind. So if there are people around you that trigger you, family and friends, if it is a work task that frustrates you, anything that is currently happening on your reality that bothers you, annoys you, frustrates you, is something for you to look at. Is some subconscious manifestation of some pattern still playing out based on an emotion that has not truly been felt in the moment, in the first experience of this. Now back to this waiting game that we play. We think we need to wait for our desires to come to us. But you know what I realized? There is no future you. There is no outside of you. There's only becoming in the present moment. There's only being in the present moment. Also, first of all, become aware of where these desires are coming from. You want this specific amount of money, you want this love in your life, you want this thing because you are seeking something outside of you to make you feel a certain way. But this feeling you are lacking inherently. Why else do you desire it? Why else do you want it? And most of these desires come from our ego, right? And it doesn't mean that we can't manifest them from our ego. We can. We always have to be aware that if we are manifesting from a place of lack, we will just continue to feel this lack. And you see this in people that say, oh, you know, money never really made me happy. Doesn't mean money can't make someone happier or give them some type of pleasure, excitement, but it can't fulfill them because they never reached the frequency of fulfillment to begin with. Now, just have this awareness that most of these desires are coming from your ego, are coming from this lack, this desire of something outside of you to fix you. This lack of self-responsibility that you take towards fixing yourself first, right? No, when I have that, I'll be happy. When I have the love of my life, I'll be happy. When I have children, when I'm rich, when I'm this, when I'm that, I'll be happy. It's never true. It is this eternal loop or trap that you enter in. And for most of us, from this trap, our desires can never manifest because these desires would actually make us happy or fulfilled, but our frequency is of that unfulfilled, unhappy one in the present moment. What I think is important to understand is that there is no waiting or doing even. There is action, but there's only being. Why don't you become the person that could have this desire? Why don't you become the person that is ready to receive this grand love in your life? So how do you make yourself ready? How do you start to actually prepare yourself? How can you mentally and physically prepare yourself for your desires? Especially when it comes to manifesting love, to fulfill this part of you. It is never going to fulfill that part of you. Even when love arrives, it's not going to fulfill that part of you, because the only person that can do that is ourselves. If we manifest from a place of lack, as I said, the reality is just a mirror. We just get more of that feeling. Circumstances might change and things might swap around, but they will still feel the same. Never experienced this feeling where you thought you really wanted something, and then when it actually came, you're kind of like, well, that's a bit underwhelming. I don't feel actually that happy and excited. It's because we never truly felt those feelings to begin with, first of all. So when it comes to manifesting love, are we able to feel a loving relationship with ourselves? Are we able to treat ourselves in the way that we like to be treated? And when it comes to having a specific amount of money or a career, can we picture ourselves being that? Do we feel worthy of that? And why are we waiting for this to happen to us? Why are we waiting? You're putting this thing outside of yourself, but it is not as anything outside of you that is going to manifest this. It is not God or not anything external. It is within. Right? So what I mean by that is that it requires you to embody this within first in the present moment. Can you be the person that has this desire? And oftentimes when we are wanting to make big shifts in our life, maybe it requires a little bit of acting out. Maybe it requires a little bit of pretending we're in a movie, pretending we are this character for a period of time to convince ourselves we can be that. But we have to make a conscious choice and conscious actions in accordance to demonstrate to ourselves we become this new version of ourselves. And this is why I always emphasize on identity shifting. Because manifestation has nothing to do with anything on the outside. It has nothing to do with your desire even. All it has to do is with this identity shift that you make first, which is, how am I viewing myself? Can I view myself? Can I feel like a person that has this desire? And on a very practical basis, this requires us to shift our identity. And what is our identity? Our identity are our actions and behaviors and patterns that we identify with, which is completely mutable, by the way, and false. We actually don't have an identity because our identity can change any second. Because are you that mean person that screamed to your mom one day when you were angry? Or are you that very kind, loving person that helped a baby once or helped a child? Which one are you? You are just what you are. Your actions are just based on how you feel in the present moment. There is no set you. There is no personality. There are no traits that are ever permanent to you. All of these things are mutable. And this is what we want to use, this mutability of who we are, in that we can pretend to become something else. We can literally change our actions and as a result also the way we feel in order to embody different frequencies. And as a result, our physical reality, which is just a mirror of how we feel anyway, is going to reflect that new frequency back to us. Core of the work for most people, for everyone, I dare to say, that we deep down don't feel worthy for our desires. For example, when it comes to manifesting this grand love of our life, our soulmate, have we ever been treated in this way by anyone? And when we try to picture a person treating us in that way, do we actually believe it? Do we believe we can have that? Maybe you have an example relationship that you look up to. And then you try to picture that type of treatment on yourself and you're like, oh, but that would never happen, right? What is this deep-rooted lack of worthiness? And try to explore it, try to see where it comes from, try to ask questions. And it's very similar when it comes to having a specific attainment. It is not the money, it is not the job, it is not the desire. It is about, can you see yourself at that higher level, right? Do you feel worthy of it? When you think about other people that have manifested that amount of money or desires, do you feel equal? Do you feel resonant? Do you feel like it is possible for you? And if you don't, then why is that? What is that based on? And then for most people, this is often based on their previous examples and setbacks and the past. Think about the past. Think about this mirror example that I gave you. The past was just a reflection of your previously held beliefs. And you can change them. If you want to change the reflection, it is just about changing what is happening in the internal. And of course the past doesn't have any proof for you, because you were never able to change those beliefs yet. It doesn't mean you can't do it now. It doesn't mean you can't just completely change who you are, what you believe, and what you stand for now. Even look at you 2 years ago, completely different person. If you look at a picture of yourself previously, are you like, oh, that's me? No. You're like, oh, that's me 2 years ago. That's not me. I don't identify with that. True. It's because it isn't you. Those past versions aren't you. Neither are those future versions. None of that is you. You only exist in the present moment. Every version is a completely new rebirth. Every second you're completely being born again and again and again. And we can use this to change who we are every single second. And this is what we want to use. So let go of the past, because these versions aren't you. You keep identifying with these versions, but they aren't you. They have nothing to do with you. And keep focusing on finding out what is blocking the worthiness in the present moment. And what can you do to make yourself feel more worthy? Well, I can tell you, it is in the way you treat yourself. It is in the way you speak to yourself. Because you keep butchering yourself, you keep being so hard on yourself, but you expect these grand, amazing things to come to you. Well, that's very contradictory, because you're very limited and lacking and harsh on yourself, but you want this abundance in your life. Well, in the mirroring example, it's not gonna happen, right? So this cultivation of the abundant frequency starts within by first allowing us to feel worthy of that, by treating ourselves in a better way. And very simple practical practices we can do is literally starting with how we treat this body. What we put in it, how much we exercise, how we take care of ourselves. All of these things matter for how we feel. All of these things matter for how worthy we then feel to have anything in our life, really. Because again, our outside world is just a reflection of what happens within. So if we do everything we can to nurture this vessel and this consciousness and this mind and everything as much as possible, watch how your reality shifts accordingly. And I want to leave it at that. I personally guide people as well doing identity shifts in a 5-week, very comprehensive identity shifting course. It is a very day-by-day guidance. I also do live Q&A sessions every 2 or 3 weeks so that you can get to ask me questions personally on a group Zoom call. And you 24/7 as part of the course have my guidance through chat, so I can answer all of your questions. I would love to have you on. Link is in the description if you want to find out more about that. And thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. I love you. Leave me a like and a comment, and I'd love to see you in my next video. Sending you my love.